Welcome. I'm Julie Bacon, and you're listening to the Mindset Coaching for Handlers podcast, a podcast for dog handlers who are on a mission to achieve big goals. Here I share lessons, insights, personal stories, and tools you can apply during your next show, trial, or test to help you strengthen your mental game and hopefully cue more consistently. Be sure to check out the show notes where you'll find details about the episodes, plus important links, including the link to the Dogged Planner and Workbook created just for handlers on a mission. So if you're ready to improve your competitive mindset, get out of your own way, and connect with your dog like never before, then it's time to get comfy, bring an open mind, and work your mindset. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast and welcome to January 2024, season 4. I can't believe I'm saying all of that. And to kick off the new year, there is no better way than to have a guest. And so I am excited to welcome Liz Joyce, who is Canine Handler Fitness. And yes, fitness, it's a very common resolution. And one that maybe all of us or some of us or whatever have. And so I thought, well, let's kick it off because sometimes we don't do fitness for ourselves, but maybe we will do fitness because our dog needs us to do fitness, right? So with that, I'm going to let Liz introduce herself and how she came into this wacky world of canine handlers and all of us. And then you'll hear us weave together how this relates to mindset and why it's important. But I'm just going to stop talking and let Liz introduce Liz.
Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Liz. I run Canine Handler Fitness, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about this today. I got into working with handlers when I had my first German Shepherd, who was a bit of a wild child, and I connected with a really amazing trainer locally who does agility, and she introduced me to her circle of friends, and I started working with them one-on-one in a gym setting and then running drills outside. And I just am so inspired by the effort and energy and love and passion that people who do dog sports have for it and for their dogs. And it's just a really natural fit for me. I love working with people. We have that common kind of grain in us, I guess.
Yeah, we're not short on passion, that's for sure.
We are not short on passion, no. And after that, I started working. So my German Shepherd and I got into IGP style obedience and bite work. And so I started working with the helpers and the handlers and just kind of expanded from there.
That's perfect. And then so you come from a fitness background though. That's your main gig, right?
That is my gig. Yeah. Yep. This is what I do. Yeah. I've been lifting weights now. This summer was my 25th anniversary of lifting weights, which is pretty significant. And I've been coaching clients since 2006. And I've been working with dog handlers since 2016.
Amazing. How cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obsessed with this line of thinking from a mindset perspective, because I do believe in like fit mind, fit body, like that it all goes together, that, I talk a lot about like being able to like think straight and all of that. And I think that that's really fueled by your nutrition and how fit you are from like both a mental stamina and a physical stamina standpoint. And it doesn't mean you have to be thin. It doesn't mean you have to lose 10 pounds. It doesn't mean you have to do all that kind of stuff. But I think when we're not fit for the sports that we do, we feel tired or we fatigue faster, or like even for obedience, we can't hold our posture long enough. I mean, there's just so many dominoes. So that was one of the things that when I found you, I was like, oh my God, this has to happen. There's so many connection points. And it's just so important, I think, to the total picture when we think about what makes a great handler and mindset and this physical aspect of it and being fit and what that is important. So like, how do you define fit? Like, what is fit to you? Like, why should we care? Like, what is that?
Why should we care? Well, I'll touch base real quick on how it benefits handlers. And then I'll talk a little bit about what fitness really means to me and what I strive to bring to people that I work with.
Okay.
So for handlers, it's really important, like you obedience folks, being fitter will allow you to have better posture and hold that posture for longer. And a lot of our communication happens through body language. So having better control and better endurance will allow you to do more of that. There's also a component of injury prevention, which I think is huge. There's like nothing that will
Yes.
sideline a team
Oh my God.
better than
Yeah.
an injury. So, having good mobility and working on your strength is huge for those things. Agility handlers, a lot of people want to run really fast with their dog and keep up and make sure they're able to support at obstacles. And all of that becomes a lot more possible. There's other things too, though, about handlers in that, like, we carry heavy things more
Yeah.
than I think the general population,
Yeah.
heavy bags of food or boxes of raw food and equipment around. And there's a lot of bending and moving and restraining animals and moving crates and doing all these kinds of things where if you're not physically fit or able to do those things, life is just harder for you. And I think about fitness through a lens of, is this making someone's life bigger, or is that making
Oh,
someone's life
yeah.
maybe a little bit smaller? So when I work with people, like my ultimate goal for them is for their body to not hold back anything that they want to do in life,
Ooh.
period. They want
Ooh,
to
I
go
love that.
paddleboarding, if they want to go hiking, if this is like
Yeah.
the ultimate freedom to be able to do whatever they want with their body and not have it be an issue. I think that that blends really well with our dogs too. Having working or sport dogs is a really big responsibility. And I really believe that we owe it to them to be able to show up as our best selves and make their life as big as it possibly can be also.
Yeah. Yeah, I resonate with that so much. I think sometimes too, like what you were rattling off in terms of like bags of food and moving crates and moving all that kind of stuff. You just, those are like awkward movements. I mean, those
Mhm.
aren't like planned, like when you're in a gym or something, it's a very kind of structured positioning, or your form can be very structured. Where this is, I guess the word is functional. This is a much more functional kind of approach. Is that true?
Yes, very much. That's how I approach fitness. There's a, been working with people for a long time. I think we had over 18,000 training hours, which is
Wow, that's
significant,
awesome.
It is awesome, but there's also a lot of trends that I've seen over time and people that are gym strong, and I'm going to use
Yep,
it like this, but like a
yep,
seated leg press or a seated leg extension. While these definitely have a place in a rounded routine, if that's all people are doing, their bodies are not going to perform nearly as well as people that even just do body weight workouts that have a bunch of different movement patterns. So
yeah.
when I'm working with handlers specifically, and it's different than with the general population, I focus on like 2 times pulling exercises for every one pushing exercise because a lot of things happen out
Mm,
front. So to counterbalance that, I do a lot
okay.
of backside of the body stuff for them. There's also a lot of prevention for knee injuries. So really good quality glute work and core work to make sure that those joints are supported. And I also give people's bodies access to as many movement patterns as possible so that they don't need to think about it. And it's like their movement library that's supported and coordinated is
Ooh,
huge. And so picking things up even at awkward angles isn't that far off from things that they've already been doing in their workouts. And it's easy peasy.
right. Yeah, you mentioned like knees and things like that and being able to support. I feel like so many people, like when you at a trial, inevitably a bunch of people have knee braces on, or, they're supporting
Mhm.
their bodies in different ways. And I feel like that becomes a little bit of an excuse against working out. If that's not even the right way to say that, but you know what I mean?
I know
Like an
exactly what you
excuse,
mean.
yeah, an
It's too
excuse to not
hard.
work out. When
Mhm.
in fact, if your other muscles around there were supporting your knee, it's not that your knee would get miraculously better, but you're going to be stronger because those other muscles are engaged. And so there still is a lot that we can do, even if we have something chronic or, and actually that would be the argument to do a bunch of different things so that we can get stronger in those areas and support that chronic condition better. Am I close?
You are like so spot on. Yes, yes, you are better than close. Yeah, people that do have existing injuries, like that's when I mean, it's important all of the time, but when you have an injury, especially one that isn't going to go away, like, an issue with your back, or maybe you've had a knee injury that you're going to need to work with, not necessarily around, but with, and you're going to use it in dog sports. Having supportive muscle engagement is going to help that whole picture so much. And I think one thing for me that I really think about when I'm thinking about that and the people that I work with is that when people are sore in certain areas, wherever that is, they're going to offload and have compensatory patterns.
Yep.
And those follow up, like those secondary injuries, are so problematic. And then you don't just have the one thing that you were working on or the one thing that was an issue. Now your knee's sore. Now you've been offloading. So the other hip hurts. Then the other foot hurts and you get plantar fasciitis. And then the hip on this side gets sore. And then you've been walking funny. So your back's sore and you're holding yourself weird. So your neck hurts. And it's just like up and
Yeah.
down, every which way, there's fallout. So having the ability to walk and move as normally as possible is going to be huge for long-term comfort and also like long-term experience in your life.
Well, and two things jump to mind when you say that. The first is how we seem to understand this really well about our dogs, but then we don't think it
Yes.
applies to us. Like, it's the same, mammal, mammal, knees, knees, like it all kind of applies. So that's kind
Same.
of my snarky comment. But then the other thing is that I think that just from like I don't know, just a walking around and being and understanding, if you can't move through the world like you want to, it really erodes your confidence. I guess that's where, like, from a mindset standpoint, I get involved, right? Because I think if you don't trust your body to be able to do the thing, or you think that you're going to get in your own way, or that your knee is going to get in your way, or something, your back is not going to hold up, or you're in pain, so by the end of the day, you're crabby because it hurts. You're in pain, and all the Advil in the world won't help you at, 5 o'clock on a long trial day. You're not going to have the same mindset. You're not going to be the same handler that you were maybe at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I guess for me, that's why there's such a massive overlap between like mindset and being fit and figuring out also what fit means for you and your sport and what you need.
Mhm. I think that's kind of a personal thing too for people. And
Yeah.
I think one big barrier, like there's a lot of friction for people when they think about working out, where social media has a lot of model type people in their
Yeah.
early 20s wearing not a lot of clothes, doing really incredible things with their bodies. But
Right.
that's like it's such a tiny little sector of people. Like that's definitely not the general population. And just because that's what you see doesn't mean that that's what you need or should be aspiring to. And taking care of
Yeah.
yourself is like a bigger thing. And like you're saying, we do it for our dogs with no question. But I think there's this feeling of responsibility where they can't do it for themselves. But like people can't, like nobody can do it for you
Right.
but you either. So that's one thing that I love about working with dog handlers that's very different from other groups of people that I've worked with in the past. That passion, that drive, that why is so in their face all the time. People that love dog sports, it's like, this is what we do. This is kind of who we are. We just love it so much. And also, we live with busy dogs. So, like,
Yeah.
the reminders of why it's important are there if you are looking for them.
Yeah, I get really into the why as well, right? In terms of like your mindset and why you would want to work on your mindset and what is that thing that drives you, because we don't wake up motivated every day, but if we have some discipline or we have a plan that we can execute and we know why we're doing it, that what is driving us, I think that can really help. So I'm assuming, but I need you to correct me. Like when you start working with someone, like, is there why for their dogs? Is it, because they want to be able to run faster, compete longer, do longer days? Like give us some examples of some whys that you've heard from your clients.
Okay, so agility handlers, their why is to be able to run fast. Like hands down, that's definitely the number one thing that agility handlers want to work on. However, other people in different dog sports, I hear a lot of whys about, from tracking people or people that do
Mm.
detection or search and rescue or have, handle dogs professionally. Navigating terrain is hard.
Oh,
Getting
yeah.
up and
Yeah,
over
yeah.
logs and in fields with ruts with a large dog. They're generally larger dogs. So with a large dog in tow or
Right.
needing to actually carry your dog out of a search and rescue situation. So having balance and strength and endurance to be able to do those things is
Yeah.
critical. Like you have to be able to do that or you can't really do that sport. The other thing is injuries. So people also really want to start because they actually just want to feel good in their bodies and have less pain and prevent future injuries and or recover from ones that they've been dealing with for a while.
Okay. Yeah, when you talked about agility, I don't know. I mean, people will laugh because I don't exactly run the fastest breeds on no on the planet. Um, but for me, I think like being able, I don't need to run faster. My goal would be to run better, stronger, because then I feel like we're better at accelerating or decelerating. Like we can hold our bodies up and like our general just body control is better.
Mhm,
So I feel like when I am those moments in time where I am more in shape, I feel like I can run lighter and more efficiently and get to where I need to go because I think we've talked about this before. There's so much like it's not just running in a straight line, right? There's lateral, there's turns, there's side changes. And even though you do those things slower in obedience in some other sports, maybe you still need your body to be able to do that. And you need to be able to trust that your body can do it. Again, that
mhm.
goes back to like your confidence and mindset of like believing that you are physically capable of being your dog's partner.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And when I watch agility from people that when I'm watching agility to see where in this person's performance, like how can I help support people whose agility game looks like this? I
Okay.
see a lot of that time issues and they're in a like it's very hard to slow down well and also to change directions and to in
Yeah.
like get to your speed, like your short acceleration in a short span.
Mm-hmm.
So I run this speed course and that every week they have different skill work and I work on all of that stuff, stopping multiple times in a row so people can learn how to it's not necessarily about just running fast, but learning how to use their body in a way and getting familiar again back to thinking about having a huge movement library. If they can move well without the dog and not get injured, when they go on the course, their muscles will know how to support them and they can run a lot more confidently and handle a lot more efficiently too.
Yeah. I mean, that would be, yeah, that's amazing. Like I can really imagine that and being because all agility handlers have been told at one point or another, you're late, you're late, you're late.
Yeah.
So I think that that would help. But just being able to like smooth it all out and not be so herky jerky and yeah, being
Mhm.
able to support yourself or if you're running multiple dogs, not get to the end of the day so tired and all of that. So
Totally.
you focus on two different areas, at least your courses do right now. One is speed and the other is strength. So can you talk about like why those two? Like why did you start there and how do they differ, compare? Like just go on about them. Tell us about the differences.
I started with my speed course because I was working with a large number of agility handlers. I have a very, very small group of private coaching clients. And I
Okay.
would say 70% of them are agility handlers. And they were asking me for speed work. I don't like they want to run faster. And I don't really have anything for that. So maybe you should buy this person's course, or maybe you should just go, go see a track. And then I kind of got pulled into it a little bit, but it was by
I love that though,
request.
because you know what? It's more customized then because I have
Mhm.
seen where other people have pulled in like running coaches, but to run for different, I mean, to run for our sport is very unique, I would think. It's kind of odd. We don't run very fast, very far, but we kind of sprint, stop, turn. It's just, I don't even know what sport it would be like, I guess. I don't know. Like a slow tennis
Like
match? I don't know.
soccer,
Oh,
soccer
soccer.
maybe.
Interesting. Okay.
Basketball, maybe. But those
So,
stops and starts are so hard on people's knees, and if they're not using their body in a way that helps them slow down or speed up, it's just all that pressure is on the knees and the joints, so learning how to use your body well to navigate that stuff is so important. The other thing that's interesting about agility handlers, where running coaches have a piece of the picture, but not the whole picture, is, you know, people run with only one arm a lot of the time,
oh
and it's
God, I
out
didn't
to the
think about
side.
that. That's so
Yeah,
true.
and they're not looking in a straight direction, they're not looking straight forward, so, like, that throws a
Right.
person's whole body and balance off, so I make a point of drilling that for people. We're gonna practice this outside of handling a dog so you
Right.
can get familiar with how to do that, because like, speed on its own is fine, but
Yeah.
also, the thing that made me do that actually is and I've been adjusting my course over the last year and a half. The first round of intakes, people were running really fast and loving it. Then they were saying, "This isn't really transferring to agility. When I'm going out on the
Ah,
course, I'm not noticing that I'm able to run as fast as I can." It's not that it's not
right.
transferring at all, but they're not able to run as fast as they could when they were practicing. So I was like, "Okay, well, why?" And I watched the videos, so that's been added to the course now too, and now they really can take it into agility, and it transfers so much more smoothly, which I just love for them.
That's really cool. And then what's the difference between that and like strength? What kind of strength are people looking for?
Yeah, those are different things, yeah. So the strength course I designed for originally, handlers kind of all types, but I really wanted to have a different way to help people that weren't running agility. So people that were doing, you know, my heart's with German Shepherds. So what do
Yeah,
German Shepherd
of
people do, you know?
course.
Um, so I decided to do the strength thing. So on the strength course, I build people up, and like not my whole thing, but I love to split things down. So people that aren't familiar with how to do it can learn how to use their muscles in a way that they feel confident that they know how to do it. They're not getting hurt. They're getting stronger all the time. And back to this mindset piece, to me, that's so important. And I'm always guarding people's like emotional health around their exercise. I am like a grizzly bear about that.
I love
So,
it.
bringing people along through the journey with more complicated movements as it goes along is really important. But I saw such a huge piece, even in agility handlers, of people that were getting hurt because they weren't strong enough to decelerate specifically. But people that are
Interesting.
doing protection work were getting hurt with their backs, and people or their shoulders were getting hurt from tugging. So the support just wasn't there. And
Interesting.
yeah, so I have handlers from all different types and all different age ranges and body shapes in that course. And it's really, really cool.
That's cool. And
Mhm.
those courses are X amount of weeks or they're memberships or what? How does that work? And I guess part of what I'm asking is like, how long does it take to be a faster handler? How long does it take to be a stronger handler? And is this, kind of a lifelong thing that we're all getting into? I mean, I would hope it's lifelong habits, but like,
So do I. That's kind of the
yeah.
goal, you know? So my courses are a membership style. So people sign up, it's $50 a month, and then they are able to use my app, and all of the workouts are loaded up there for them. We also have a
Perfect.
private Facebook group, so I routinely do form reviews so people can submit a 60-second video that I
Oh.
go through on a video review for them, and that's either from the sprint course, like the speed course, or the strength course. Um, you know, to get feeling faster and to be faster happens
Yeah.
really quickly if people are, diligent and have fairly good discipline. I ask for 2 workouts a week and daily stretching. So the stretches is like 4 or 5 minutes and the workouts are like 25 to 40
Oh,
minutes
that's
maybe.
way doable. I mean, that's is less than we're training our dogs.
It's super It is. Well, that's the thing, right? If it isn't doable, there's too much friction, the barrier is there, and it just doesn't happen. So, that was a piece of it being really accessible. So, it is an ongoing membership, and people can see speed results in a crazy amount of time, like 3 weeks
Wow.
roughly is
3 weeks,
like
that's 6 workouts, basically. I mean, a lot of stretching, but that's 6 workouts.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, we can all do that. Because I
you
think
can
that gets into my next question, which is I feel like everybody listening has done a workout program at some point, right?
of course.
And they've done it, they've tried it, they either liked it or hated it, but they got away from it. And I think that it's so overwhelming to think about like, oh, I have to work out, I have to go to a gym, or I have to buy price. Now I have to join the Peloton Nation, or some expensive something something. And, like I work out every day, but my workouts are at home. Like they're at home, they're on an app. I pull up my iPad, like, and that's how I do them. And I feel like what's good is there's a lot more accessible for us at home now. But I think that's what I love about your stuff is that it's not just accessible at home. It's for people like us. It's not for gym bros, who are going to be in the
No.
gym or doing CrossFit. And I mean, all those things are wonderful, but I think this is like exactly for us, by handlers for handlers, right? It's like very specific.
Exactly, and I think there's also something about going to a gym that can be intimidating,
Yes.
even, like, for me, and, like, I've been lifting weights for a long time. When I go to a new gym, I'm that chick in the corner, just like,
Yeah.
I don't love it, I don't love it, and I can only imagine how someone felt out of shape and felt out of place there, that could
Well,
just
and you don't
be
have a plan. Like even like you, I've been to a lot of gyms in my life, but
Mhm.
I feel like if I walked into a new gym right now, without a plan, I would just like you, I would go from corner to corner and I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I'll do some biceps. I don't know. Maybe I'll get on the treadmill and watch TV for half an hour. You know what I mean? Like I just wouldn't, and it would be kind of a waste. I mean, it wouldn't be a waste. I'd be doing something. So that something's better than nothing. But in terms of like having a plan, I feel like doing someone else's workout, like i.e., me doing your workout, like that takes it out of my head. Like I don't have to have a plan. I don't have to know what I'm doing. I just do what the person tells me. And
Mhm,
quite frankly, it's really good self-care time because you're doing something for yourself
mhm.
for, 30 minutes or however long the workouts are.
Totally. I totally agree. I think that that's a huge piece and that's really makes it easier for people to kind of wrap their head around, which I think is important. But
Yeah,
there's also that thing too where if you were new to obedience training, for example, like that's a very specific precision type thing. And I'm thinking about Schützen style obedience, which is
very specific.
like, you can't walk into a Schützen style obedience with no training and no coach and expect
No,
to do well. Like, that's not gonna
right,
happen, like, just straight up. It's just no.
right.
But it's the same kind of thing, so I really am striving to and working towards always making that barrier to entry and access to a coach that knows what they're talking about, that
Yeah,
knows what their sport is and what the demands on their body are accessible financially,
yeah,
'cause that's
yeah.
huge. So, I think that's really
Yeah, I think
important.
that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And yeah, it knocks down a whole bunch of barriers, aka excuses for all of us. So in your program, but you've talked about this before, uh, one thing we are also as handlers, I'm just going to overgeneralize here, terrible at, is warming up, stretching,
Mhm.
warming up, getting prepared. We're making sure our dogs are warmed up. We've got like
That's a
all the
great
things. We've got the back on track coats on them. We're making sure that they're temperature perfect. And yet we just whip off our coat, grab a dog, warm them up, but we just go in the ring and then wonder why like our hamstrings are killing us or
or
what
it tore
why
right off the bone.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah.
That happens.
So talk to us about like the importance of stretching and warming up and kind of the minimum stuff that we should all be doing.
Well, it depends, I think, a little bit on your sport, but anytime you're sitting around for periods of time, stretching is important. And when you're running, having good mobility will, and stretching before you run, after you warm up. Warm up
Yep.
first, you stretch a bit. But that
Picky,
will
picky.
give you yeah, right? It gives you a better stride and helps you run better, but when I think about it, it's like that's injury prevention. So from an agility standpoint, it's really important that people warm up before they run. And the order of events that I suggest, and you and I have a whole group of lessons for your people, and I'm excited to talk about trial
I
day
know.
care
I'm so
in that one.
excited. Yes.
But I'll just quickly tap on it. So my suggestion is to layer up more than you need to, warm yourself up, warm your dog off, strip the layers, get to work. That was
Okay.
get to work, go run your run.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and what Liz is alluding to, so those of you who are in the membership, all of January is devoted to Liz and all of these great lessons. And if you are not in the membership, now might be a great time to think about that. Thank you for the plug,
Yeah.
Liz. And then in your programs, then stretching is part of the more daily routine. You said there's more stretching available. So basically what I'm hearing is you're trying to get us to form a new habit, perchance,
Yes.
about doing that and just how important. I mean, because whether you call it stretching or whatever, to me, it's like going back to the word mobility, which you used, and the idea of maintaining our flexibility. Because when we're
Mhm.
not flexible, we tense up, we do weird things, or we protect something, and I'm making body gestures that are just like inward. We clench in weird ways. So, talk about what happens to us as we're all becoming aging handlers and losing some flexibility, and like how we can fix that or at least stem the tide.
Well, I'm just gonna hop on real quick and say that people experience changes in their mobility and their comfort levels really fast when they stretch regularly. And studies show, like really reputable studies show that like 5 minutes a day of stretching is going to be like that really is kind of
Wow.
perfect. So
And that's
30
nothing. 5 minutes is nothing.
It really is, and I am trying really hard to have people form a habit in a way that's really reinforcing. So, reinforcement is super important to our dogs, and it's also
Yeah.
important to us, and I don't know that people spend enough time thinking about how that reinforcement is being delivered to them, and what can they do to increase that
Yeah.
reinforcement history and also maybe the frequency of rewards. So,
Yes.
so I encourage people to habit stack, stretch while they're drinking coffee, or take a movement snack during their day or at lunchtime or something along those lines so that they have regular exposure in a way that feels good for them. But yeah, stretching every day will help you prevent injuries. The things that happen too, especially when people have a lot of time at a desk or sitting. So sitting doesn't
I was just
necessarily
gonna
mean
go there.
desk
Yes, I was
time.
just gonna
Yeah.
go there.
Sitting is also eating meals. It's also driving to
Right.
locations. It's also
Mhm.
sitting at locations. It's
Yeah.
also watching TV. It's also all these other things that people think, I sit at work. Yeah, but you also drove there and you
Right.
sitting at lunch. So people sit, a
Yeah.
lot of time. And then, we're designed to be upright a lot more often than that. So we get tight muscles in ways that pull our posture in funny places, and then muscle groups don't work as well as they can because they're all lengthened out because the other side's all tightened up,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
everything gets all out of whack. And people are amazing. We have an amazing way of adapting to different stressors, including that. However, it does catch up. So, unfortunately, the thing that I really hate about that is that people's patterns like that start when they're in their 20s or their
Oh,
30s, or
wow.
even their
Okay.
40s, but they don't maybe necessarily know that it's such a big issue till they're in their 60s. And then
Right.
they got a lot of homework to do then. And it kind of, like, hey, if you can hop on that train a little earlier and make your aging golden years feel a lot better, like, do that for yourself. It's a big gift that you can give yourself.
Yeah. When I think of, as you were saying that, what I was kind of chuckling because I'm thinking of like the pie chart that is like an agility day or an obedience day, right? And how you spend your time. And like
Mhm.
more than half of it is sitting.
Yeah.
Whether you drove, like you're saying, drove there, you're sitting in between classes or whatever. And then another hunk of pie chart is like carrying stuff, right?
Oh, I
Loading the
know.
car, unloading the car, loading the car back up, unloading it when you get home. I mean, like there's so much. So like the amount that you're actually in the ring is so small and relative to all of the other stuff or all of the other
Mhm.
non stuff like sitting that I think we forget that we're there to do that 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, throughout the day, but yet we're just sitting down the rest of the time and then expecting that we're just going to jump up and be able to perform. So I
Like, at
think
your
like
very best. Like,
right, right, and I think
a
so
big
building,
ask.
like, body awareness just in general of, like, how your body is feeling and what you need, whether you need more water or more protein or whether you need to, like, stretch or just do a lap and walk around or those 5-minute stretchings you're talking about doing them multiple times through the day because you just realized maybe you've set an alert on your phone or something and you realize you've been sitting for 2 hours straight, and
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's important. What do
Super
some of
important.
your, like, what are some of the things that if you can putting you on the spot here, but like some of like your clients, your members, like what if they said that they've accomplished like by doing this? Like what are some of the things that they come back to you with?
Okay, this is exciting. There I don't think that there's been a day that's gone by since May of 2023, no, 2022, that I haven't got an email from somebody to say,
Wow.
"Hey, I feel amazing." And often it's more than one. So, like, that's huge. The changes are, it depends where people start from, but
Are they
little things.
surprised? Like, are they like, I mean, I would
Yes.
assume by the time someone gets to you, they're being serious about their physical, right? I mean, they're like, okay, I got to do something about this.
Mhm.
And they sign up for you the same way they said they want accountability, right?
Mhm.
That's just like what they want with their mindset, right? They give
They
me
want a plan
accountability.
too. Tell me what
Yes.
to do because I
Tell me
wanna kick
what to
ass, but I don't
do.
know how.
Right. Exactly. So by the time they get to us, either one of us, they're serious. They want to
Yeah.
level up their game. They realize they're missing a piece of it and so forth. But I find that people are surprised all the time by certain things. They'll be like, yeah, I did the thing and it worked. Um, and so what are people most surprised about? Or like, what do they tell you? What can you hear that they're surprised about?
Okay, so this is a great question, and if you don't know her, I train this woman named Becky Vanderweel, who's, like, so awesome. She did this list of 10 things that she has accomplished since she started working with me, and it's been a
Oh
year
my
now.
God.
Yeah, and she's in the membership, so she's not a private coaching client of mine, so this is all through course material, but her list of things, and, like, she was homeschooled, so she's never been in a gym class, she's never
Wow.
had a trainer, she's never been to the gym, like, she's never worked out, like, I mean, at all, so she was
Holy
coming in.
moly.
Yeah, and
Good
her
for
list of
her.
things. I know, yeah, I know. So her list of things was stuff like, I put my pants on without having to sit down,
Yeah,
which is
balance.
not nothing, right?
Right.
My knees don't hurt. Or also her thing was I used to only be able to do a quarter of a mile lap with my dogs. Now she's up to a full mile and it's really not taking her all that much longer than the quarter mile was before. So that's
Interesting.
huge. I also hear a lot of, I was at this trial, I finished and I got to that last obstacle, or I can't believe I ran 30 obstacles in a row. I also have someone that does a lot of bike joring and canicross with their dog, and he's
Oh,
been injury free for a year. So, like,
wow.
that's been incredible. So that would have been, he's been with me for 15 or 16 months now. So it would have been kind of shortly after we started working together. I'm going to attribute that a lot to the mobility he's been doing, but he's been getting so much stronger too. So
Yeah,
those are kinds of things that I hear from people all the time
I love
for,
it.
like, I didn't think I could carry the crate in, and now that I can. And are they surprised? I think a lot of times They
Yeah.
are, because if you're doing things without a plan or just expecting your body to be able to do stuff, but not really
Right.
putting any attention on it, and then all of a sudden you have a plan that's really thoughtful and split way down and you can follow it and like you feel good about doing it, like incredible things can happen in a very short amount of time. And it is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
surprised
I
that
think
there's
it's a testament to our bodies, right? I mean, in the like this
Mhm.
complex, crazy,
Yes,
system that we all walk around in and how fast it can and it wants to get better.
so
And
bad.
it wants to work correctly. Like the system wants to work the way it was designed to work. And so
Yeah,
when we give it the mobility, the support, the flexibility, the strength, all of those things, it goes, yes, thank you. Yes, this is how I was designed to do the thing. So I
yes,
think that's really fun. Um,
it is
well,
fun.
there's so much. I mean, you and I have talked. We are becoming fast friends because I just think that there's just so much between us, right? In terms of like getting that confidence. Cause like those people that you just rattled off those great testimonials, like they are more confident in their bodies. They're more confident to be able to do the thing. The person who's finishing 30 obstacles, I mean, she's like, yeah, bring it. Like now
Bring it.
I don't have to worry about my body. Now I can focus on my handling, And so I
Yes.
just think it all comes together. So I'm really excited to start this conversation. Hopefully, this will encourage people to do something about their fitness this year. But more than anything, I want to like demystify it. Like, I want it to like this conversation, hopefully, it makes it less overwhelming for people to start and it just to start to do something about it and start to prioritize themselves and start to realize that like as the other half of the team, right, or dogs and us, like we owe it to them to be fit to be able to do the sport and whatever that means. And
Mhm.
like you said, it looks different depending on what ring we're in, but it's just as important. So thank you for that.
There's this quote my mom sends to me on stationery at every birthday, but I think it's important when we think about our dogs too, and the quote is, "What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life?" And
Oh,
I
that's
think
such
that,
a
like,
good quote.
when you think about dogs, their lifespan can be so short and, like,
Yeah.
really and, like, packing it and, like, the excitement and energy that you can have with them is just everything is so much better when you're in a
Yeah.
better physical space.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. So I'm
Mm.
going to put where to find you in the show notes. So everybody check the show notes. You know how to do that now. And just scroll down and but give us like some just verbals. You have website, you have a Facebook. Tell us where to find you briefly and then the links will be in the show notes.
Well, I want it to be easy to find, so you can if you search your internet browser for Canine Handler Fitness, spell the word CANINE, you will see my website. Same thing on Facebook, and I am a little less active on Instagram, but I do have an Instagram account, but I mostly interact with people on Facebook, and that's where you can find me.
Perfect. 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 Well, thank you so much. And I know that you'll be back because we have so much more to talk about this year. But thank you for this time and for introducing this to us and for kicking off season 4 and our
Yay!
new fitness goals this year. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, and congrats on your 4th season, that's awesome.
Thank you. I'm very excited too.
I bet you are.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for listening to the Mindset Coaching for Handlers podcast with me, Julie Bacon. I am so grateful for your precious time. Check out my Dogged Planner, workbook, and journal available on Amazon. Just search for Dogged Planner. I also offer monthly membership that's perfect for ongoing support of your awesome goals. Check out theqcoach.com for details or just stop by and check out all the ways you can work on your mindset. And be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at theqcoach and let me know how it's going. Finally, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. This helps us podcasters tremendously. Plus, I know I get my best podcast recommendations from friends. Thanks and have a great week with your dogs.